recording. Piece of shit photo booth. Dear fellow citizens, fellow earthlings, my name is Christopher CXB to you. I am not high right now, nor intoxicated. I am sleep deprived, so that will get the mistakes. Also, don't you dare judge me for this black thing on my head, okay? What do you think holds my hair plugs intact? Oh! Okay. Let's focus. Enough about me. Oh, I'm going to try, as usual, to talk in a British accent because I like that more than my own speaking voice. Dear ladies and germs, first of all, in case you want to doubt anything I say, I'm not like all the other assholes on the internet in that my track record is fucking flawless. Example, have you heard any idiot say nobody could have predicted Trump would win? Really? I not only said he would win, and I said it every single day and week for 2 years, I bet cash on it. And I'm not even a gambler. Lifelong liberal Democrat, but it didn't take a rocket scientist to see that Hillary Clinton was the most hated candidate in world history, and Donald Trump was the second most popular candidate in U.S. history. I know you believed everything you read in the newspapers. I know you still believe all the lies they've told you since you were born. Example, Fox hates Hillary. Really? So why do they endorse her for Senate? See, everything you believe is a lie. And I'm like your big brother, and I'm here to tell you there's no fucking Santa Claus. I know it's going to upset you at first, but in the end, you're going to be thankful that I told you the truth. So now let's get to some dirty secrets. Now, again, remember, my track record is amazing. I have made hundreds of thousands of predictions. Everyone called me crazy, and every one of those predictions came true. But let's focus on the issue at hand. Today, let's talk about how the Beatles cheated their success. Now, this video is not about the Beatles. It's about how everything you believe is a lie, and is a lie, is a lie, and a lie. And you know what is almost always the source? There's only one thing in history that can compete with money: pussy. How many men have lied to get in a girl's pants? In fact, I argue that performance art was invented by cavemen, because they had to put on an act sometimes to get laid. I know you're thinking, no, they didn't. They just hit her with the club, dragged her into the cave. Stop digressing, okay? Because then you're going to get me digressing, assholes. I don't want to have to idiot-proof each sentence, so work with me here. Thank you, ladies and germs. Shall I try the British accent? Okay. Let's focus. The Beatles completely cheated their success. Now, one, that's obvious to anybody who knows there's no God. It's obvious to anyone who knows there's no Santa. It's called common sense. The chances that that fat guy fit down a chimney, that doesn't make logical sense. That he hit every rooftop in one night on Earth, doesn't make sense. On every level, God makes no sense. So you knew God was fake the very first time you heard about it, but you lied and pretended you believed the story because you wanted to fit in and pass for normal. It's 2016 right now. It's time to grow the fuck up. Your human race is disintegrating rapidly. You retards are going into hyper-retard stratospheres. Well, we can either keep sinking, or you can listen to the smart people like me, and we can start fixing shit. Ironically, we might not have the Beatles if it wasn't for corruption. Here's what happened. Now, obviously, if you've ever been around the music business or anything, you know it's dirty. Anything where there's money is dirty. Right? You watch a TV show, you probably think the laughter is real. It's not. Everything is fake. Everything is fake. Say it with me. Everything is fake. Now, the official story, a lot of people know. Brian Epstein. They don't know all the story. One, Brian Epstein was the Donald Trump of the Beatles. He was a rich kid. That he was Jewish doesn't help, because the cliche is that they care about one thing. And guess what? Well, there were two things Brian Epstein cared about. And getting his dick sucked. He was a homosexual. Nothing wrong with that. But it plays into the whole reason why the Beatles cheated. Watch. Look into it. See if I'm lying to you. Look up the details. They don't tell you the whole story. Brian Epstein was a rich kid. He went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. He wanted to be a thespian. He wanted to do arts and theaters. He didn't want to follow his dad in the furniture business. That's boring shit. Brian Epstein wanted adventure, drama. But he didn't really have the chops to pull it off. So he ended up running his daddy's record stores. Supposedly, maybe the biggest chain in England at the time, I'm not sure. Regardless. Now, as you know, the Beatles were kicking around for 4 years, getting almost nowhere. 4 years. That's a long fucking time. By contrast, I could name one of my bands. I can't give you their name. It took me 2.5 weeks. That counts as 2.5 weeks. It took me 2.5 weeks from accidentally forming the band to getting major press in the media capital of Earth, Manhattan. It was all merit. I didn't have connections, didn't bribe anybody, nothing. I do stuff that's so good that I can usually get around the system of corruption and with my own merit. Not always, but it's rare that merit can surpass corruption. Surely you know that by now. So the fact that the Beatles, people can't say, oh, the Beatles were gifted. If they were gifted, they would have taken off a week later, as many of my acts have, or 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. I've done thousands of projects where I got immediate acclaim without any effort at all. But the Beatles, 4 years. Same with U2, formed in 76. Their career mostly did this. What changed? How did they go from this? And you can interview millions of bands who play zillions of shows a year. And you see this pattern, whether if they're talented, this is their trajectory. If they're not talented, this is the trajectory. See any pattern yet? Now, let's get back to our story. Brian Epstein wanted something else. Now, the Beatles didn't get anywhere in Liverpool, then they went to Hamburg and weren't really getting much traction there. Just doing drugs, trying to fuck as many girls as they could, whatever. They still wanted to be big stars, though, because they wanted, like Lennon, wanted to escape the horrible world he was trapped in, being a latchkey orphan. So, let's see, how succinct can I make this? Long story short, they're playing in Liverpool, maybe when they had the residency, the Cavern Club or whatever, and they were bringing in fans and stuff. Of course, remember, we live in a world where the church used to be the rock club. Right? You live in a village, you go to the local school, there's 2,000 people in your village, your life is going to be mostly pretty fucking boring. You understand? There's not a lot going on. This is 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 75 years ago, whatever. Churches were the hangout place for much of society. You went to church for your social circle, to see your neighbors and friends, maybe to pick up a girl, find a bride. That's what church was for. That's why the Republicans, and no rock musician wants you to remember this, because all rock musicians work for the Republicans. No, they don't. Then debate me, asshole. I hate it. You fucking morons. You're fucking wrong. It's like, well, then why are you afraid to debate me? Name some of the Republicans. Let's just take 2016. Notice how many rock musicians and pop stars and rock stars went after Hillary Clinton for being anti-gay. That's right. 100% of famous rock stars and pop stars all backed the homophobic bigot. You think that's a fluke? Well, you're an idiot, because that doesn't even make any sense. How could that be a fluke? All of them united against blacks. Even all the black entertainers said, I'm against blacks, I'm backing Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. They did more against black people than almost anybody in the modern era. And that's why I support them, because they are the most... Bill Clinton and Hillary ran the most Republican White House in U.S. history. It's not even close. Reagan, Bush, none of them come close to Hillary and Bill. From DOMA alone, the Defense of Marriage Act alone is Nuremberg Laws 101. That's literally pure Nazi. Look up the Nuremberg Laws. It said Jews can't do this, Jews can't do that. And look up Defense of Marriage Act, which says gays can't do this, gays can't do that. Tell me the difference, you fucking psychopaths. Any person who endorsed Hillary Clinton should be drowned in a fucking lake for the KKK psychopaths they are. But I think I'm digressing. Sorry. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit if you thought I was bald, but I'm actually not bald. Actually, it does look like I'm bald. I just have to idiot-proof everything, because humans, the one thing humans care about is being stupid all the time. as a coping mechanism. You humans are not as dumb as you say you are. You're not as dumb as you pretend to be. You play dumb so you can make it through the day. Don't fucking lie to me, assholes. You lie to yourselves. You don't even know yourselves. But I'm digressing. Oops. Let's focus on the Beatles, which is just a metaphor for all human society. Greed, dishonesty, corruption, blah, blah, blah. Because remember, once the Beatles got everything they dreamed of, they say they were miserable. Hell, even while the band was still cooking great, Harrison and Lennon start doing heroin? Come on, why doesn't that tip you people off? Every one of your favorite bands says success ruined the band. Pink Floyd says Dark Side of the Moon's success ruined the band. Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses say the success of their debut ruined the band. The band almost immediately melted down because think about it. Once you get the money and the girls, they have no reason to work anymore. They're no longer hungry. Now they get fat and lazy. Same with corporations. Maybe when Apple first started making products, Apple computers, there was some quality control. But once the riches and money came in, there was no longer any motive to make a good product. Do you not see that? The laziness sits in. Once Steve Jobs is a billionaire, he has no reason to even go to work anymore. Why bother? He only did it because he liked to be the center of attention. He was a psychopath. Don't get me started. I know you believe, oh, no, Apple computers make great products. I know because I read it in the New York Post. I read it in the New York Times. Why would billionaires lie to me? Fucking, oh my God, the human race. Like I said, I'd call you all retards. I don't call you all super retards. But that's an insult to retards. Because you're dumber than a retard. Because a retard is somebody who might, well, in your language, a retarded person might be somebody who has mental difficulties. And it might not be their fault. There's all kinds of reasons where a person can be legitimately retarded, and it's not their fault. Could be, something from the birth. Could be you're in India and there's chemicals everywhere and blah, blah, blah. There are none so dumb as those who don't use their fucking heads. So to call you a retard is an insult to an actual retard. Do you see what I'm saying there? Is that making sense, or are you too retarded to figure out what I'm trying to say here? Ho! All right, let's focus on the Beatles, because I am a master of digression. Of course, my digressions serve a purpose. I'm trying to help you people move forward. Your human race has come to a dead end. You got two choices. We either need to kill you all off, every one of you, or we need to push you forward, and you all have to take a leap forward, like the Enlightenment, and you need to grow the fuck up, and you need to stop being a retard and a liar, okay? Oh my God. Okay. Now, you're Brian Epstein. You're rich, Jewish kid. Daddy owns a successful business, but you don't want to work and manage record stores. You want more adventure and excitement. But how do you do that? You don't have the chops yourself to pull it off. The official story is that, let me see, I'll give you the whole official story hopefully in a nutshell. The official story, and if you're over the age of 3, that the official story is never, ever, ever true. Never has the official story ever been true. Everything is a fucking lie. If you think we didn't fund Hitler, you're an idiot. If you think the Allies didn't create Hitler, you're an idiot. If you think the Revolutionary War was legit, you're an idiot. There's no such thing as legitimate war, idiot. All wars are fake. All wars are fake. Let's say it together. All wars are fake. Now, the official Beatles story is this. Brian Epstein, some people came into his record store and say, hey, can we get this single? Blah, blah. It's like, who are these Beatles? Da, 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 da. And they're like, oh, he's on the cover of Mercy Beat. They're on the cover of Mercy Beat, local paper. Oh, da, 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 whatever. And he goes to see the band. Oh, he loves them. He says, I want to be a manager. All right. He says, I got money. They're like, all right, this guy's a bit of a wanker, but he's got money. He wants to help us make it to the top. All right. We can't say no to that. All right. This guy's fucking taking us to dinner, buying us new gear. All right. These suits are ugly, but you're paying for them. And then the official story is that they made it, I think they made the demo while going to audition for some major labels. I think it was allegedly Decca. Decca was Decca Records, wow. Big record label at the time, 1960s, was the one who officially, they say, rejected the Beatles, saying guitar bands are a thing of the past. But they say all the major labels in England turned the Beatles down. Now, that's two scandals in one. One, the Beatles, there was nothing interesting about the Beatles at the time. Don't believe the hype. They were fucking 18-year-olds who didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They just wanted to get pussy and money. They did have a sincere love of music, so that's a step up from Lenny Kravitz and Coldplay and lots of other musicians who have no interest in music whatsoever. It's just, what can you do for me? Is music a vehicle to get laid, popular, and money? Then now I want to be a musician. That horrifies people like me who love music. And if you use music for your own personal gain, for money or girls, we should fucking beat you to death in a parking lot. That's how much I love music. I want to protect music. But I've digressed. The Beatles, and then the story is that he took it all, and then finally everybody turned him down, Brian Epstein down, very demoralizing. And then EMI Records also turned them down, but then one of their staff producers, George Martin, the legendary George Martin, the fifth Beatle, gave them a chance. And the rest is history. Now, of course that's a lie. If every official story before that was a lie, then it's scientific law that the official story of the Beatles has to be a lie. You get that? If you jump in a lake 500 times and you get wet all 500 times, it's called scientific law. And if you can't jump in the lake ever without a varying result, oh, look, this time I'm dry. It's scientific law. If every official story was a lie in the past, that means every official story in the future is a lie. I don't understand why you humans can't detect patterns. That's why in every election people vote for Democrat or Republican in America and then regret it. And so the next time they do the same thing and regret it. And then the next time they do the same thing. And you see the same thing. That's why it's 2016. And how much more time do you guys need before you tackle this war thing? How much longer before you solve that? Or violence? Or domestic violence? How much longer before you solve crime? Should we give you another 10 years? What do you need? Another 20 years? You've only had, they are, say, as many as 1 million years on the planet so far to solve these horrible problems. How's it going? Or are you going to say it's 10 people fucking it all up for the other 7 billion? It isn't. It's every single fucking human being. You're all the problem. Don't blame it on the fucking 1%. It's the 100% who suck. Humans are monsters. But I'm digressing. Shit, we're at 17 minutes. Fuck. Let's get back to Beatles. So now we know that official story is false for a number of reasons. You should have, one thing I try to do is teach people detective skills. It's like teaching a man to fish so you can catch your own fish for the rest of your life. Of course, you shouldn't eat fish because that would make you a fucking savage. Okay? Vicious savage. You don't think fish feel pain? You don't think fish have families? Well, then that makes you even more of a fucking right-wing psychopath, doesn't it? An elitist piece of shit. Remember, no one can say, well, humans are number one. It can't remotely be true. I knew that as a little boy. People say, oh, humans, God made us his favorite. It's like, really? Then why aren't we the fastest creature on the earth? Why aren't we the strongest? Say, well, no, we have brains so we could make vehicles that made us faster than cheetahs. Why didn't God make us faster than cheetahs? Why didn't your God make our noses work better than doggies? Why didn't your God make our ears work better than doggies? Hell, I'm a human male and I have to shower every fucking 6 hours or my macho starts to stink. But fucking cat never takes a shower. Smells great. That's not right. Nature is a fucking chaotic savage beast, and obviously there's no intelligent plan because look at how fucking horrible the world is. If you remove all the humans, the world is still a horrible place where almost every creature on the planet is scared shitless of their predators. It's a giant catastrophe of endless violence. That's nature. The whole universe is violence, violence, violence. Can the humans outsmart their programming? So far, not a lot of evidence that they can. But you can prove me wrong. Show me that you human beings can defeat your robotic programming and wiring that tells you to be greedy, selfish, thoughtless, lazy, violent, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into all the details of how it would have been common sense for you to know that the Beatles cheated everything. Okay? Of course, just the fact that, again, if they were talented, they would have formed in 1957, and the trajectory would be like this. Do you see? But that's not what happened. And we'll use the analogy of U2 too. When U2 formed, this was their trajectory. Well, that's not what happens when you're gifted. In fact, the term gifted, pardon me while I belch, amen. Also remember that, who was the comic who said, when you fart, you should say God bless you, because it's the exact same concept as burping or sneezing. You're letting the demons out of your ass. God bless you. So, I gotta focus. Stop it, Christopher. So right there's your first tip. I know that. If I put a band out, if I make a demo and I sent it to the newspapers in New York City, and they didn't write about it immediately, I knew it had failed. Because when they like you, they immediately would return my emails. Immediately. We're talking like in an hour, they would return my emails. Example, Vice. Vice returned an email in an hour asking to interview one of my bands. That's how you know you've got something good. Okay? That's merit. If your band is playing out every day and you're not getting this, then you're doing everything wrong. But that's a whole other story. But that tells us about the Beatles, though. There was nothing interesting about the Beatles. They were just another band. Yes, they had a great sense of humor. Well, lots of bands have great senses of humor. They were smart asses. Lots of bands are smart. They were good looking. Lots of bands are good looking. There's nothing the Beatles had to offer society that it didn't already have a glut of. They had nothing to offer consumers. But they knew they wanted to escape their little world, and Brian Epstein wanted to escape his little world. So here's the truth of how the Beatles cheated. Now, obviously, some people know the Beatles cheated in a number of ways. Brian Epstein, being a rich record store owner, bought 10,000 copies of Love Me Do in 1962, was it? To put it on the charts, the local charts, and then that creates a buzz. You've seen it with YouTube. You are more inclined to want to watch a video with 20 million views versus a video with 20 views. True or false? We're wired that way. It's no free will involved. We are wired to care about popularity because humans are a species that herds. We're like dogs. We're not like cats. We're like dogs. Well, women are like cats. Men are like dogs. But don't get me started. Otherwise, I'm going to have to explain everything so you don't misunderstand it, because that's human nature for you to misunderstanding all you see. It's true or false. Even me, I'm not like you human beings. I wasn't raised like you humans. I raised myself practically in the woods. I'm one of the most unique human beings in all time because I ignored schooling. I ignored books. I ignored everything, and I raised myself based on reality, not what somebody fed to me, not what was programmed into me by schools or the authorities. I'm not like most human beings. I ignored all that shit. Example, like when I was 4 or whatever, I put a note on the Christmas tree, a secret note for Santa, and told nobody. Because I said, this story sounds like horseshit. The story my mother's telling me sounds like shit. Story of the newspapers or whatever everybody's saying sounds like nonsense. I'm going to test it. A note for Santa that nobody knows about. Well, Santa never read my note. I thought he sees all, knows all. I did the same thing with the tooth fairy around like the age of 5, where I said, this sounds like a load of shit. Let me test it. My tooth fell out. I said, I'm not going to tell anyone my tooth fell out. I'm going to put it under my pillow. I did it. Well, you know, the pillow was there next day. So just to put it in perspective, I was born a natural detective. I'm not glad. I would much rather be an idiot like you. I would so much rather be ignorant. I will never tell people that being ignorant isn't good. It's the best thing ever. Being ignorant, it's the best thing ever. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. If we lived in a world that was intelligent, if we lived in a world that was honest, it would pay to be intelligent. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world where you get punished for being intelligent and you get rewarded for being stupid. And if you want to change that, then you better start working with me. Otherwise, shut the fuck up and let your catastrophic human society continue and its depressingly grinding decay. Oh shit, I was going to almost make a break here because the Apple glitches so much. I wouldn't be surprised it says, it crashed. 24 minutes of recording you did. You're going to do that again. Fuck you. Apple. This is my 5th Apple, and it glitches in every category. You cannot believe it. Every single piece of software on this Apple doesn't work. And this Apple has seen almost no action. And every one of my Apples failed from the moment I bought them. Yeah, well, then why did you return it? Because the PCs I had were garbage too, in different ways. Wake the fuck up. I'll say it again, retards. Capitalism gives you a choice only of who is going to rip you off. Do you want this company to rip you off or do you want that company to rip you off? The choice is yours. And you idiots all fell for every retarded lie of capitalism, but I think I'm digressed again. Brian Epstein, when he saw the Beatles and said, "Ooh, they're cute. Paul, that guy's cute." And John was funny and smart and dangerous and yeah, all right. And Ringo was funny. Actually, Ringo wasn't in the band yet. But now Paul, at this point, Brian Epstein is a relatively young homosexual in a nation that still, at the time, criminalized homosexuality. And he saw these 4 boys playing the Cavern Club, or wherever it was, and they're in leather and they're bad boys and and he found them attractive. He also found Pete Best attractive. And that is rule number 1 of why Brian Epstein wanted to rep them. He didn't hear them and say, they're doing something musically that I don't hear in my record store. Nope, he never said that. Look it up. The fact is, he used the Beatles for 2 reasons. 1, his attractiveness to them. 2, because they were his ticket out of his daddy's record store. Now, there's more evidence. Let me list some of it. Well, obviously, we know that. Even the Beatles said, okay, granted, our demos that were rejected by all the record companies were shitty. He asked Paul McCartney today, he says that. Yeah, they were shitty. Yeah, everyone should have rejected you guys because you weren't offering consumers anything they couldn't get anywhere else. You people forget that. That's what I hate about bands. I say zillions of bands, they grow like cockroaches now. And I have to say to them, what are you offering consumers that no one else does? My bands usually take off quickly because I'm offering a consumer. I sound like a crass businessman, but I'm just trying to make a point here in simple language. What are you offering customers that they can't get anywhere else? 99% of bands can't list anything. Your band has no reason to exist. The world doesn't need your band. You're doing it because you don't want to work a day job. By contrast, somebody like me, I loved every day job I had. I loved being a carpenter. I've done everything from welding to industrial painting to voiceover work. I've done all kinds of stuff. And I love all my jobs. I loved being an auto body guy. I liked fixing things. I liked making things. I liked getting shit done. Why do so many earthlings hate to get shit done and don't want to work day jobs? Because they're sociopaths. Mentally retarded sociopaths. The number of musicians who say, when I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, I knew what I want to do with my life. It wasn't the music. It was the screaming girls. And we know that because look at the zillions of female bands formed in the 1960s who said, I turned on the TV, saw the Beatles, and I thought, I want to dedicate my life to music too. There's no reason a girl can't go to the store right now and buy a guitar and a bass and a drum kit. No reason. And no girls did. Did they? Remember, I'm the smartest liberal on the planet Earth. But all liberals are morons and all conservatives are morons. Example. When we talk about the patriarchy, yes, the patriarchy is real in a lot of ways, and it's not real in a lot of ways. Why aren't 50% of the musicians in America today women? Your argument is because music stores won't sell gear to women. Oh, is that why? Or it's because girls, they have fewer fingers and they can't compete with males. Oh, is that it? Is that why 50% of females, musicians are female? Is that why? See? You're a dumb liar. All you humans do is parrot what other people fed into your brain. Oy, oy, oy. Why do I even waste my time? I should just hang myself. There's no saving your human race. But true or false? Today, why isn't the U.S. government 50% female? Man, all those ballot access laws blocking females from getting on the ballot. I got on the ballot. Almost nobody helped me. Was it the patriarchy that helped me get on the ballot? Nope. I just had any woman could have done the same thing, collect signatures. In fact, a woman would have a lot easier time collecting signatures than a man would. So I just proved that it is easier for a woman to get on any ballot in the U.S. than it is for a man. But everything you've been taught is a lie, is a lie, is a lie, is fake, is a lie, is a fake. Again, the patriarchy is real, but Just like it's not the 1% who keeps the 99% down, it's the 99% who keeps the 99% down. It's not men who oppress women, it's women who oppress women. But I've digressed. So the Beatles. Now, there's more to this. Now, to me, something was suspicious. Okay, all these labels turned the Beatles demos down. And even EMI said, we're not interested in the Beatles. But then George Martin said, maybe I'll give them a chance. Okay, that's how it works in fairy tales. That's how it works in Hollywood movies. It's fake. Like the lion who had a thorn and the little mouse took the thorn out and the lion said, I'm not going to eat you, mousy mouse. If you lived more than 5 or 10 years of your life on this planet, you know that's exactly the opposite of the truth. The nicer you are to somebody, what do? That's right, the more they take advantage of you. Nice guys finish last. And you notice not many of our fairy tales have that moral. Shockingly suspicious pattern. Ding, 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 ding. You should be able to smell the bullshit, kids. And we know there was nothing unique about the Beatles at the time. I know you think there was because you read it and you believed it, just like you believed a virgin birth for a while. Now remember, and also it's all agreed that Brian Epstein robbed the Beatles fucking blind. He robbed them fucking blind. And it's also now well established that he used their money to get tons and tons of sex. It's the oldest motive in the book. Sometimes you get lucky where you have a band like Led Zeppelin who worship money and pussy, but also love music. So you get some good music, but also the bad side. And most bands cheated. Led Zeppelin is a good example of a band who doesn't appear to have cheated too much. That when they started playing, they had just the right chemistry, bam, instant, almost like overnight success, instant recipe. Same with King Crimson, overnight success. Because they had something that nobody else was doing. I mean, Led Zeppelin weren't that unique, but they were better than pretty much anybody else like that. You can't put Zeppelin 1 against Jeff Beck's first album. No comparison. So Zeppelin did it better than pretty much anybody else. And Zeppelin was pretty much an immediate. Plus, remember, they got bad press. They got bad reviews. By contrast, Hillary Clinton got all great reviews and couldn't win any elections in a fair fight. So you see that pattern throughout humanity and its history, that everyone cheats their success. Led Zeppelin cheated in some ways, but not really, compared to how most bands cheated completely, bribing radio stations, bribing journalists to write about your band, bribes. Almost the entire music history of all your favorite bands is bribes, payola, illegal criminal activity. That doesn't mean anything about their music. Their music could be great, their music could be shit. But they all did it. U2 cheated completely, Maroon 5 cheated completely. U2 has some good music, Maroon 5 has no good music. And we see that. You can put anything in regular rotation on the radio, and some people will love it. Or most people will love it. Anything. And I dare you, find a tune that you say will not be popular, and we'll put it on the radio and TV commercials 500 times a day. And your argument is no one will ever like it, even if you put it in regular rotation. Well, you're a liar, and you're wrong, and you're a moron, and that's why no one has ever been willing to debate me in my long life. I've challenged hundreds of thousands of people to debates. 100% declined. Now, they can't say I couldn't be bothered. Well, that's what they would say. I can't be bothered to debate you. And then they would write 6,000 words on my Facebook or whatever. It's like, well, apparently you do have the time and you are bothered enough to keep writing to me. You just keep writing insults and changing the subject from the debate at hand. Retards. Also, I guess I have to retard this proof because there are retards who are going to watch this go, you can't use the word retard, that's politically incorrect. It is. It is literally the right word. That's like saying you can't use the word toilet to describe a toilet. Why? Because the toilet's insensitive. What? The name of this device is toilet. So I call it toilet. A person who doesn't use their heads has retarded their thinking. They are literally retards. Do you not understand that? I didn't make the word up. I'm not using the word in a bad way. I'm using it to describe people who are stupid, mostly deliberately stupid. Their thinking is retarded. They are retarded. Literally, the definition of the word retarded. I don't know if you know this. Look in a dictionary, retards, and see if retarded, the word retard is slang. It's not. It was an official word, idiots. It's like thinking vagina is a dirty word. Actually, vagina is the scientific word, retards. Pussy, you could say, that's vulgar slang. Oh, cunt, that's vulgar slang. Vagina is the opposite of vulgar slang, you idiots. Retard. Retard is literally the legitimate word for most human beings. They are retards. They are humans who have retarded their own thinking. Now, to be fair, they don't deserve all the blame. They were raised to not think. They were raised to be and taught that thinking is bad. They were raised that honesty is bad, etc. No, they were. I wasn't raised that honesty was bad. Yes, you were, idiot. You're so stupid. You humans are so stupid. It's unfathomable how stupid you humans are. You honestly don't think all of human society is united against honesty? That's not even a secret. Really? You've never heard, don't kiss and tell? Oh. I just proved the entire human race wrong with one sentence. I was taught, don't kiss and tell, because I'm an honest guy. I was like, oh, last night I was with, what's her name, came back to my house, and we were making out, and then people are like, you're not supposed to kiss and tell. It's like, oh. But since I was born, you told me I should never tell the truth about anything. If you're having anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. See? If you have criticism that will make things better, shut your fucking mouth. I can give you many more of these proverbs, etc., or adages, etc., that show you every inch of our lives is anti-honesty and truth. Example, the mob, they call you a snitch. The police call you a snitch. If a good cop rats on a bad cop, they call him a rat. My own mother, when I was a boy, called me a rat because I like honesty. You think I'm exaggerating when I say the human race despises honesty. You think I'm exaggerating. But then you didn't see that coming, did you, when I pointed out the don't kiss and tell? In all aspects of our lives, we are taught to be dishonest. You say, no, I heard honesty is the best policy. Shut up. That's a nothing term that means nothing to anyone. You don't even like to be told the truth, do you? We know that because my whole life, I've told people the truth. And guess how many of them went, thank God you told me the truth. That's right. 0. Guess how many said, I don't want to fucking know the truth. Shut the fuck up. That's right, 100%. You're slowly starting to learn about real life? No, you aren't. Now let's get back to the Beatles. Oh, my God, my work is never done. Oh, I look like a fucking douchebag. Fuck you. This isn't about me. Although, the more respectable I look, the more you are inclined to listen to me or trust me, aren't you? See? That's the catch-22 I've got. Fuck you. There's more to the Beatles thing. Now, so the fact that he robbed the Beatles blind clues you in that he didn't have good intent. It was a selfish act. Like everything human beings do, pretty much, is selfish and vile. We know I'm different. Example, when I was a teenager living in Marlborough, Massachusetts, in the middle of nowhere, what I would do on holidays, like Christmas, is I would pick up the phone book. We used to have a phone book. It had all the phone. It was kind of weird thinking back now. It put everybody's names and addresses and their phone numbers in a big, thick book. Now, today, we'd say that's crazy. You shouldn't know people's private numbers or their addresses. Only Facebook thinks, should we help stalkers by making female customers use their real names? That makes it easier for stalkers, rapists, and killers to hunt their female prey. And you think, well, no, Facebook has a legal right to demand every one of their customers uses their real name. Don't use a nickname. Don't use a stage name. Don't use a funny name. Use your real name. So stalkers, rapists, etc. can hunt girls they're attracted to on Facebook. We should hang Mark Zuckerberg for that one scandal. That's only one of hundreds of thousands of Mark Zuckerberg Nazi scandals I can list. But that one's a pretty darn good one. Now, you would ask them, why? YouTube lets people use fake names for their accounts or anything they want. Lots of other websites let people use whatever name they want to sign up. Gmail does. Yahoo does. Hotmail does. There's only one website I know of that orders you to always use your real name. By sheer coincidence, it happens to be the #1 Nazi tool of the Nazis. Stalin's wet dream, Hitler's wet dream. They can monitor everybody on the planet and what they're doing. See who's against the government, who's with us, who criticizes police, who exposes police corruption, and who doesn't. Look at me. They've shut down all my Facebook accounts. My most recent one, currently, they force me to reset my password every day. Now you might go, that's weird. Yeah, you're right, that's weird. Why would they make me reset my password every day? Duh. See, you people don't think. Humans are so lazy, and that laziness is what makes them unbelievably stupid, because you just grab the first idea that comes to your head instead of giving a little bit of deep thought. Think of life as a chess game. You really should do a little bit of thinking. A little bit. Think. Logically, that's what you do. You wouldn't just block whistleblowers like me, because then you look like the fucking Nazi you are, Mark Zuckerberg. You have to use a cover story. Example, you might even just pretend that it's a computer glitch. It's like, oh, yeah, you gotta reset your password again every day. Now, just to mock them, I reset it using the same exact password that I've always used, and it works every time. What they're doing is creating roadblocks and headaches to say, you want it to make it your choice that you stop posting things and you stop going online. I can give you so many examples. The stuff that Facebook's done to me is batshit crazy. And I even filed a federal lawsuit, and of course the dirty fucking crooked judge not only blocked it, but I said, watch this, everybody. He's not only going to block it, he's going to block it with no legal argument at all, because there is no legal argument. My tort is flawless, comprehensive, and flawless. And the judge, like every judge, you've seen that in even my criminal cases, I would say to judges, Your Honor, could you explain this? And they would all go, nope. Now, you know why a judge wouldn't explain his legal decision? Because he broke the law. Honest people aren't afraid of answering questions. Only liars are. Here's one funny example. With a lot of my dirty judges, a number of my arrests and trials have been for attempted harassment or attempted contempt. Now, even people don't know the law. When I tell them that, they go, wait. What the fuck is attempted harassment? Doesn't even make any sense. What the fuck is attempted contempt? That doesn't make any fucking sense either. Even people who know nothing about the law have all shocked me by being smart enough to go, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Or like the court staffer who said that's like being a little pregnant. Now, here's the telling thing, though. Now, in a trial, most people have never been tried in a criminal court, and they should. We should be doing mock trials in high school. Everyone should play a prosecutor. Everyone should play a defendant, so they could say, oh my God, this system is not 1% legit. It's not 1% legit. And even if it was honest, it can't possibly work. It cannot work based on human nature. Don't get me started. I don't want to digress too much here. I'm just making the point about, so when you're being tried, they might have one charge against you. They might have 100 charges against you. Oh, we'll get you for stolen property, possession of burglary tools, whatever. They may trespass. In some of my cases, they may have several charges that are the same. 3 charges of attempted harassment. Actually, in one of my bigger trials, that was for attempted harassment. I got to make sure I don't go into any of the details. They're crazy fun, but I'll digress too much. And I've maybe done some videos about that already. But here's the key point. Now, the way the law is written is critical. Let's say you're charged with trespassing. You might go, well, what exactly is trespassing? Am I guilty, technically, of trespassing? You have to read the statute. And you could actually look at the trespass statute in all 50 states, and you might find they're not all the same. Oops. Oopsie. So you're guilty in one state of trespass and you're not guilty in the other. Clever. You guys have a really clever society here, right? I mean, like the idea of having different laws in each state just to maximize confusion. That's great. What a clever idea, you humans. So you're not breaking the law in this state, and then you move, and now you're breaking the law, and you didn't know it. Nobody told you. And ignorance is no excuse. And there's some laws they won't even tell you, Patriot Act, etc. They won't even tell you the law. So, wow, ignorance of the law really is no excuse, is it? You fucking psychos. Even Hitler told people the law, you fucking psychopaths. Even Hitler had more class than the American government. Yikes. But When you are being tried, they give you the criminal complaint against you in America. It says, on this date, Joe Schmo did this. We allege that Joe Schmo did this in violation of this statute, and this statute. Nicely laid out, pretty simple, maybe sometimes a couple pages. One to 3 pages in my cases. Because remember, I've never been arrested for breaking the law. I get arrested for this, whistleblowing. So then they have to make up whatever statute they can to try and cover up the fact that I'm basically being arrested for exposing the government's corruption. So attempted harassment is a really funny one. Now, I've blown them apart in court so many times before, but so here, now I'm acting as my own lawyer. So now the first thing is, they don't give you a criminal complaint, in my cases, that says, on this day, Christopher did this, and this. Because what it says is, he committed harassment. So then I say, Your Honor, I need to get a new criminal complaint that has the updated charges. Because what they would do is, to get rid of my right to a jury, which is illegal, they reduce the charges from A misdemeanors to B misdemeanors, which is like a notch above a parking ticket. So you no longer have a right to a jury. It's considered too minor a crime. And the most time you can do in New York, I think, is 6 months. Is that right? It's been a couple of years. I'm sleep deprived, etc. I think it's 6 months is the max jail time you can do on a B misdemeanor. Could it be 3 months? I'm pretty sure it's 6 months. It's a year for misdemeanor, A misdemeanor. I think it's 6 months, B misdemeanor. There's no C. Now, what they do is, and I always tell people, remember, what I do is, to prove that I'm smart, to prove that I'm being cheated, I call my opponent's moves, every one of his moves, before he makes the move. You see? Like I would tell, every time I'm arrested for an A misdemeanor, I tell people, watch, they're going to reduce it to a B misdemeanor at the last minute. When I call their bluff and I say, we're going to a jury trial and you're going to have to explain your contradictions, your stupid lies, etc., to a jury of taxpayers. They don't want that. Because once they reduce it to a B misdemeanor, they get rid of the jury. And now my guilt is in the hands of a judge appointed by the alleged victim. Super illegal. Super illegal. But who cares? There's not an honest journalist in this country. There's not an honest person in government in this country. Yes, there is. Shut up, liar. Step forward and debate me, liar. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. Now, by law, they would have to give me a new criminal complaint. Because this old one, I'm charged with harassment, is moot. They've reduced the charges, new charges now, for the B misdemeanor trial by a judge appointed by the mayor. You see? Now, they've never once obeyed the law. Not once. And given me a new form that says, on this date he did this. And we argue he is guilty of attempted harassment, because there's no such thing as attempted harassment. So they can't actually give me, they can't obey the law even if they wanted to, because there's no way to write a new criminal complaint that says he did this on this date, and he's violating this statute of attempted harassment. There is no attempted harassment statute. So they can't. They've painted themselves into a corner. Luckily, all judges in America are illegally serving on the bench. I know you don't think that's true because you're a moron, and you believe everything the newspapers tell you, and everything. Why would the government lie to me? Why would a politician ever lie? You can't figure that out. So you believe that judges in America are legally serving on the bench. But I can't make 50 billion videos educating you on everything because you're a dumb retard who doesn't think shit through. Oy, oy, oy. But I'm digressing as always. Here's the point. Now, our trial's about to start. Now, first of all, how do I prove I did not violate this statute? Because remember, there's very specific wording in some of these. Example, in the Rachel Trachtenberg case, they had to prove I intended to violate the order of protection. Now, I sent out mass emails, and I didn't scrub in fucking 17 pages of addresses, 11,000 addresses. And I had scrubbed her email. She had multiple email addresses. I scrubbed them as many times as I could to make sure I didn't accidentally send one to her, which would be technically in violation of the law, if I was aware of it. Now, they proved, and I believe them, that I did accidentally, me or my girlfriend, accidentally did not scrub Rachel's address from 1 or 2 mass emails I sent out. Okay. But here's the problem. And at first I thought, oh, fuck. Well, if I did make that mistake, then I'm toast. But then when you see the harassment, and when you see the statute of contempt of court for violating the order of protection, it says intent. Now there I go, they've lost. Because they can't prove I intended to. Plus there's no motive. Because if I did it, I would simply then be giving them carte blanche to just throw me in jail, you see? It doesn't even make any sense. That's like saying, oh no, this criminal intended to rob the police station. Wait a minute. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. The criminal, there's almost no cash in the police station. Who robs everybody in a police station? That doesn't even make any fucking sense. And that's kind of what they were arguing. They're saying, oh no, Christopher broke the law for no purpose except because he wanted to be defeated by us in court. Are you sure? Because I got a long history of fighting you in court and beating you in court. Why would I suddenly change and say, you know what, I want to lose. I want my reputation to go to shit, and my reputation as a whistleblower to go to shit. I want everything I worked on to go to shit. I want to lose my apartments. I want to lose everything. Yeah, just for the fuck of it. Because remember, if you don't catch me, I've accomplished nothing. Because remember, Rachel read those emails even when I didn't send them to her. When I sent them to her bandmates and her family, she still read them. So there'd be no logical reason to send the emails to her. Do you see? Am I making sense here? They never, in the entire trial, they never once argued motive. Isn't that interesting? They never once argued. And I pointed that out repeatedly. I said, you're going to see, at the beginning, the opening statements, I said, you're not going to see them do this. You're not going to see them do this. You're not going to see them cross-examine me in any way, they're not even going to try to catch me in a lie. They won't even try. Watch. And I said, they're not even going to argue motive. Now, if you can't argue motive, you've lost right there. No motive? Wow. Every motive to not break the law. No motive to break the law, and your argument is that I broke the law? It's retarded. They had no case. Don't let me get bogged down in it. But the point is, that word, just that word, intent, changes everything. It changed it from me being guilty, even though I made a mistake, to me not being guilty of the statute. Do you see? So getting back to when I had the trial for attempted harassment, that's not the Rachel case. That was not for attempted harassment. All my trials for attempted harassment, before we even begin, I say, Your Honor, we got a little bit of problem. I'm the lead attorney here, and I have to argue that I did not violate the statute. The problem is, there is no statute. There is no wording, no language that I can battle. So could you tell me what the exact definition of the charge attempted harassment is so I can prove I didn't break that law as it's exactly written? And every judge said the same thing. No, let's move on. Now you can talk to lawyers. They'll tell you that's beyond insane. That's so illegal that it's incomprehensible. It's so illegal that every single journalist covered it up. It's so illegal that every person in government who was relative to it or involved covered it up. Every judge, every prosecutor, all my own attorneys, everyone covered it up unanimously. Every time they did it. It is, I don't think, most people don't know that much about the law, but if you're not charged with a crime and given the definition of the crime so you can prove you didn't violate the law as it's written, we're cavemen. We're not Adolf Hitler. No, not even close to Hitler or Stalin. They had laws with actual wording, and you could prove you were innocent or guilty. And the Nazi and Stalin courts were a lot more honest than U.S. courts. If you think that's hyperbole, then step forward and debate me, cowards. You know nothing about the law. You know nothing about anything, do you? The very principle of due process goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. The United States today is fucking a bunch of fucking cavemen in a banana republic. It's fucking frightening. Do you understand that? The judge said you're going to have a trial where you have to prove you're innocent. But that can't possibly be done because we will not tell you the exact charge you're being charged with. It's like Guantanamo Bay, only a lot worse. Don't get me started or I'll give you 5 hours of fucking details, assholes. Will you start to trust me, assholes? But so what's the point? The point was, with those, attempted harassment, attempted contempt, no judge would define the statute. There was no possible way to prove my innocence. Even though I proved everything they said was a lie, we knew from the start the fix was in. We knew before they arrested me the fix was in. I predicted they were going to arrest me and do everything they did 5 years before they did it. It wasn't hard to guess the future. You can guess the future every day you want. It's identical to the past. You know if the people, your friends, are getting married tomorrow, next year. You already know if they're getting divorced. We all do. Because the future is the most predictable thing that exists. And again, to show that to you, the future is so predictable that when I tell people that we can predict the future flawlessly, the first thing they all say is, really? Then can you guess the lottery numbers? Or the game numbers so I can bet on them? See how predictable everything is? Now then you would, I can't idiot-proof all this stuff. Watch my other videos. Fuck you. I can go into more details and correct you assholes. But we're supposed to be talking about the Beatles and how they cheated their success. So let's get back to that. I forget where I was tying it in. Maybe it'll get there in a moment. It maybe had something to do with Fuck, I don't remember why I went off on that branch. There was a reason. Arrgh. But when you have too many answers, it starts to get impossible to juggle it all. So now Brian Epstein, George Martin's story, it sounds relatively good. He argued that I didn't want to sign the Beatles either. I wasn't that impressed by the demos. But I was impressed by Brian Epstein's exuberance and enthusiasm. I mean, this guy was a businessman, and yet he was so keen on this band, whom he was in love with as a male. In fact, Pete Best claims that Epstein actually hit on him at one point, which I believe. If you know human nature, it's like saying, what, a man hit on a pretty girl? That would never happen. Not only would it happen, it's invariably inevitable, isn't it? To say that Brian Epstein wanted to fuck the Beatles is like saying water is wet. So moving on, now George Martin's story, not a great story. He signed this band because their manager was so enthusiastic. Okay, this doesn't quite stand up. But then he also said, plus there was no risk on our part. We paid them shit in royalty rates. We offered them shit royalty rates. There was no risk. Okay, but I still said, no, that doesn't add up. So that's why I was researching this. It turns out that some have said Epstein, people who were part of it at the time, have said Epstein threatened EMI and George Martin because this was Brian's last shot at his future of adventure and maybe hooking up with Paul or John or Pete, etc., etc. This was pretty much his last shot. He had been rejected by all the other labels. And so Epstein used his family's muscle. They owned a whole bunch of record stores. And he said, if you don't sign the fucking Beatles, our stores are not going to stock your label's bands anymore. Because Brian was desperate. And what do humans do when they're desperate? They do crazy fucking shit. They also do crazy fucking shit when they're not desperate. But when they're desperate, they especially do it. So now, which story do you believe? The official one, which could be true, almost no chance. Just because it doesn't make sense. No logic. Or the story I just told you, which makes perfect logical sense, does it not? The Beatles had nothing to offer. Even if they were bringing in crowds, and they weren't doing that great. Here's an example. I just looked up Van Halen the other day, and they were talking about Van Halen played for years and years and years and got nowhere and years because they were offering nothing that wasn't already available. I know you morons don't believe that because I'm not going to go into the details. He wasn't even doing the tapping until late 76. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That was a little novel. Okay? They had flashy clothes. Everybody had flashy clothes. They had a frontman, a sexy frontman. Everybody had a sexy frontman in the 70s. Shut the fuck up. Van Halen had nothing to offer to consumers. And that's why Van Halen's career did this, and did this, and did this, and did this. Then Gene Simmons, somebody recommended Gene Simmons, but it was for the guitarist. Gene wanted to replace Ace Frehley, the worthless alcoholic, with Eddie Van Halen. Oh, that's what we need, a flashy guitarist, because our music sucks and he writes great riffs and we don't know how to write riffs. Nobody in Kiss knows how to write a good riff. We need this kid, this hotshot Eddie Van Halen. He's cute, he's got chops, whoa. And he had started doing the tapping. He stole from Steve Hackett of Genesis. And lied about it. And he got very rich and famous from lying and cheating. Nice guys finish. Remember, for me to say the Beatles cheated is like me saying water is wet. For me to say Van Halen cheated is like saying water is wet. It's obvious. But you humans are so dumb. And it's also partially a coping mechanism. You don't want to believe you live in a world of fakery and evil. So you lie to yourself and you tell yourself, the world's not that evil. Everything's not that fake. You know it is. But you don't want to admit that because then it ruins your soul. So as a coping mechanism, you lie to yourselves. And everyone lies to themselves and they say, Christopher's crazy. I believe the newspapers and the politicians. No, you don't. You don't believe in God. You never did. But you told yourself you did as a coping mechanism. It sounds great. Oh, I mean, after I die, I go to a fucking awesome place? That's awesome. What? You mean the assholes who are mean to me are going to burn in hell? Awesome. Epstein threatened George Martin. Now, the very fact that Brian Epstein bought 10,000 copies of Love Me Do ends all debate to cheat. But every band who's succeeded did this, and most admit it. U2 admits it. Pink Floyd admits it in their autobiographies. Oh, check this out. When Van Halen did get signed, well, first, Gene Simmons spent his money doing a demo for them. This is the story. I believe most of it. And then he shopped it around. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted the Van Halen. He then, but then they kept playing around with stuff and more word of mouth and stuff. Well, the tapping helped a lot because that was the novel thing for most people. Most people didn't see Steve Hackett doing it because the slideshow's going on. He's doing it very subtly, whereas Eddie's doing it very flashy, in your face way. So, but it turns out even the official story, Van Halen says that when they did get signed, they were playing the Starwood Club in LA, and the guy who signed them said when we went there was not much of an audience. But what do you mean there wasn't much of an audience? Your argument, the original official lie was that they just were so hot that they just kept getting. How is it that there was almost no audience the day they got signed? Because everything you believe is a fucking lie, people. And it's crazy that I'm telling people this because I'm almost charmed in a lot of ways. Like I said, I've had dozens of my musical acts get international raves. No one else in human history can say that. What? No, thank you. Every time I'm recording is when they yell something up there. I don't need to help the little people because I'm an alpha male. Okay, do you understand? I'm an alpha male. I could have fucking been rich and had all the girls in the world instead. But I turned down thousands of girls because integrity. I was born deformed. I have excessive integrity, excessive honesty, excessive smarts. And I'm not a capitalist. I don't like capitalizing in any category, right? If a beautiful girl's hitting on me, most guys would be like, well, this beautiful girl's hitting me. I might as well get my dick sucked and fuck her. I don't. I think, one, why is this girl hitting on me? Is she hitting on me for good reasons or bad reasons? Etc. Because I'm a thinker. I'm a detective. I care about truth. You people just care about making it through the day and trying to live your life as best as you can. I don't have that luxury. I wish. Because I've been charmed since I was a little boy. Everybody said I'm smart, funny, talented, the most talented. I got that everywhere I went. In high school, most talented, most talented, most talented. Biggest photo in my high school yearbook is a picture 2 girls stole of me and they jumped out behind lockers to steal the shop like paparazzi in the 80s. Amazing. And you can go look at my yearbook and you'll see big photo of me at the beginning of the book. Not the regular photos of the people. This is like the random photos of the school and stuff. Huge photo of me. And my whole life, people have always said I'm attractive. I never particularly felt attractive. But women hit on me everywhere I go all my whole entire life. And everywhere I went, men wanted to be me. And you might think that sounds great. No, everything in life is a double-edged sword. Let me end with this, because I think I've made enough points about the Beatles cheating. I hope. I can go into more details, but actually, let me give you one more example, though, with Pink Floyd, before I wrap the Beatles thing up. But the other point is, again, though, even being charmed is not good. I used to tell audiences, there's one thing worse than being hated by women, and that's being liked by women. You don't get it. It's not even human related. It's nature related. Is the grass green on the other side? Greener, sorry. Is the grass greener on the other side? What is it? An illusion. What is it? Fake. Now, that's nature being fake. Is the sky blue? Nope, it's fake. It's an illusion. It's fake. Now, if we remove all the human beings from the earth, nature is still fake, is it not? It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. I can give you lots of details. Don't get me started. I gave you 2 that were pretty darn good. The grass ain't greener. Hell, how many animals think the earth is flat? Well, it sure looks flat. It's an illusion. It's fake. It's not flat. But even a cat or a dog, get rid of all the humans, the other animals see, looks like it's flat. I don't know how far I can go. Nature is a lie. Everything is a fucking lie. Being rich is horrible. Being poor is horrible. Being black is horrible. Being white is horrible. Being born a girl is horrible. Being born a man is horrible. Being born a penguin is horrible. Being born a dog is, well, dogs, since we domesticated them, Even that though, we have a dog here. I don't know much about animals, but when I live with friends who have cats or dogs, I watch them. I'm like, I think it's just that the animals can't express themselves. One, for example, cats get into so much trouble because they're bored out of their fucking mind because life is boring. Dogs, not as bright. And the dogs seem content. But look at how obsessed with food dogs are, right? Yeah. Try this. Try this test. In a house with a dog, go to all the different corners and start to open some plastic wrapping. And see if the dog arrives. It's not just because the dog is really interested. If it was, dogs would just stare at the TV all day long. It's partially the food wiring, but it's also because they're bored out of their fucking minds. Now, why don't they worship the TV like humans do? I'm not sure if I've solved that yet. But what was my point? Half awake. What was the point? Well, let's get to the Pink Floyd thing. I'm always juggling 600 things at once. That's one of my problems. That's the problem of being too smart. You're too smart. You have too many ideas. Like I said, being as smart as me is like having 9 million fingers on one hand. Fingers are good. So 9 million fingers must be better than 5 fingers, right? Nope. Everything in moderation. That's one thing I've learned in life. Everything in moderation. And I can't do it myself because of my excessive integrity, but I do tell human beings, you should be moderately honest. Be moderately intelligent. Be moderately ethical. You don't want to be excessively ethical because that's a dead end, a complete dead end in life. It will make every moment of your life agony. So remember that, kids. Moderation. Everything in moderation. You don't want to be rich. You don't want to be poor. You want to have a bit of money. Okay? So you can be a little comfortable. Rich people have horrible lives. I know you think 20 jet skis is going to fill that hole in your heart. Try it. Or ask somebody who bought. Ask Bloomberg. He had 11 mansions. Didn't fill the hole in his heart. So then he had to pay to be mayor so he could be the center of attention. That didn't fill the hole in his heart. And everything he's done has been to try and fill the hole in his heart. Now, we're all in this together. You retards have to realize that. We are all fucked from the moment we're born to the moment we die. Now, some people are lucky, like you be born to a parent. There are some people who are born to a mom and dad who are wonderful. It's very, very rare. That's a fluke. For the most part, we're all miserable. Bald guys are miserable, and dudes with lots of hair who are never going to go bald are miserable. Tall people are miserable. Short people are miserable. All humans are miserable. That's why we're obsessed with food. For the same reason, dogs are obsessed with food. Anything to kill the pain of being alive. Now, do you want to fucking start to solve these problems? Because we are I will say this about humans. Our brain, I will agree that our brain seems to be the most magnificent machine in the universe. The human brain is incredible. We can't even wrap our heads around how incredible the human brain is. And we've solved problems and defeated nature in the past. So the question is, are you willing to work with me? Let's defeat nature, the bad parts of nature. Let's defeat them. Example, we almost should have hormone agents in the water supply. Men don't like being horn dogs. Men don't like having to chase women and debase themselves and spend money trying to get into girls' pants. Men don't like that, but that's the way they're wired. And we're all fucked. All of us are ruined. Women will fuck everything that moves. Women cheat on men more than men cheat on women. Women are horrible, but it's not their fault. That's the way they were wired. Women climbing the ladder and using men is the same thing as you having a nose. You didn't choose to have a nose. Women didn't choose to love shoes. That's my song, Human Nature Sucks. Men don't choose to chase sluts. Women don't choose to be nuts. Men don't choose to be lazy. Women don't choose to be crazy. Women don't choose to love shoes. Men don't choose to love boobs. It goes on and on. And it says, stop and think, people. We're all fucking slaves. We're all trapped in hell. Life is, in the best of circumstances, life is hell. The richest, happiest people in the world, life is hell. Because, as my new song says, even the rich get diarrhea. Well, even the rich, they get diarrhea. Right? Even, no matter how rich you are, your loved ones are all going to die. True or false? So stop thinking that money or fame are good. They're not, retards. We have to grow up and move past this stupidity. We need a new enlightenment, okay? So the human race can move forward and progress. And because we can actually improve a lot of this stuff. I mean, you can never get rid of all the horrors of life, right? I don't like having to shit. I don't like having to eat. I don't like having to shower. I don't like having to brush my teeth. I don't like having to trim my nose hairs. I don't like having to trim my what, you mean I have to trim my nails over and over and over and over again? So what's the difference between me and a crack addict? He's chasing the same thing over and over again in a pointless hamster wheel. How is a coke addict any different than the rest of us? We all are slaves to showering, to eating, to shitting, and the rest. We're all slaves. We're all addicts, essentially. And it's a horrible thing. And we could solve many of these. I wanted to have scientists work on no-grow. My pills were called no-grow. Or was it grow-no? No-grow. Where if you're happy with the length of your hair and maybe the hair and the length of your nails, you take no-grow and it stops the growing process. So no more clipping your nails. We can outsmart Mother Nature. The question is, do you want to? And you need to spread the word. It's time to stop the bullshit. Or not. Then, but in that case, we should just wipe the human race out. Time's up, guys. Time is up. So let me end with the Pink Floyd thingy. I noticed over the years, I've been a huge Pink Floyd fan for 30 years. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. Love them. Love them. It's one of my favorite bands. But it started to annoy me that in every interview they talk about Sid, and supposedly they wrote so many songs about Sid, and Sid Barrett, poor Sid Barrett, our best bud, poor. I started to quickly notice it smells like overcompensation. Now you know what overcompensation means. It means they're covering up. Now think, I think I made a video of this before, maybe I didn't, but to me it occurred because I started putting 2 plus 2 together. Nothing in the story made sense. Example, oh, he's an acid casualty. Wait, I've tried acid like 5 times. I have a lot of friends who've done shitloads of acid, and guess how many lost their minds? A very suspicious number of 0. 0. But I'm to believe, and we know lots of rock stars and stuff who did tons of acid. None of them lost their minds. But we're to believe that Sid Barrett took acid and lost his mind. I ain't buying it. Plus, we know how rock bands think. They want more money, more fame, more girls. So do the math. We also know how a lot of rock bands are, especially like the great musicians or the iconic musicians like a Sid Barrett or John Lennon. They were troublemakers, right? Naturally, that's why you don't go into furniture business, because there's something weird about you, or you don't like the normal boring routines, so you rebel and you go into the arts. So we know Sid was already pro-rebellion, as were his bandmates. But here's the problem. They were in the right place at the right time. They also cheated, but they were in the right place at the right time, got signed, and realized, oh my God, our dream of making a living as musicians and getting girls and money is coming true. And then a wrench appeared and jammed the gears. And that wrench was Sid Barrett's mischievous nature. Right? Everybody's done it. You can go back, you can watch now on YouTube all kinds of videos of artists throughout the 60s and 70s lip syncing. And they all, of course, think it's stupid. And many of them mock it. You'll see Richie Blackmore, or I think it was Richie. He's playing in the video, but his guitar is flipped around, so the strings are against his stomach. So it's clear he's faking it. I saw something the other day with Sweet. He's playing the synthesizer in Fox on the Run, and then he just moves his fingers off into the air to show the person on TV. It's like, we're just lip syncing. They're making fun of the process. That's human nature, especially for artists who are mischievous by nature. So obviously, Sid Barrett, when he has to lip sync on a TV show, is going to want to fuck with the process. And obviously, the business side people would be furious, right? Dick Clark was not happy with the Pink Floyd. Not happy at all. A lot of the American people, the big business people, were not pleased by Sid fucking with them. That then jeopardized the futures of Roger Waters Nick Mason and Richard Wright. They loved Sid, they loved his antics. But they did not want to have to get a day job if Sid ruined this, which might be their one chance at superstardom. Their first, and I don't have to get into the cheating thing, their first single was a failure. The second single, they had to pay the radio stations and see Emily play, which is a great song, but you don't get it. You don't just make a great song and it gets on the radio, kids. That's a lie. Every song you've ever heard on the radio was put there through money or connections or cheating. Wake the fuck up, kids. It's time to grow the fuck up. But to show you what a detective I am, I started realizing, wait a minute, it completely, because the stories about Sid, why they had to fire him in the band, were like, oh, he strummed the same chord through the whole show. His fingers were getting stuck in the strings. It's like, okay, every band has done that, whether because you might be too drunk at a show or too stoned, or maybe you're on acid at the show, whatever. Everybody was doing lots of acid. The Beatles were doing tons of acid, apparently, and getting stoned, apparently, all the time. But Sid was jeopardizing the band's career, which is, and now we've seen this in every band. What would a band do to their best friend if they have to choose between their best friend and their career? What has every band and artist done? They've sold out their mate. And they hate themselves for it, but that's the trade-off. Do you want to be rich and have all the girls and the money and the fame? Or do you want to stand up for your buddy and you both work at the fucking day job you hate for the rest of your life, dead-end job? So I realized they faked Sid Barrett being pushed out of the band. And that's why they have so much guilt. And the guilt is eternal. Their best friend who created the band, they threw out the guy who created the band. That's really low. I mean, they may be right. Sid might have cost them success. Lots of weird artists have never had success because their weirdness pissed off the business. That's the problem I've always had. I never thought I would be successful as a musician or an artist. Why? Because as a boy, I realized, oh, I'd rather piss off the people in charge. I don't want to kiss up to the people in charge. I'm not going to play any of their fucking games. And I don't give a fuck if they hate me. I don't give a fuck if they ban me from every club. I don't care. I'm not playing their fake games. I'm not. I do not have that kiss-ass gene to make it. And I'm fine with that. But it bothers me that some of you fall for all the other lies. And also it makes our world a horrible place because everyone's shitting on each other to try and get on that life raft. And I'm telling you, the life raft is sinking too, assholes. So stop fucking over your fellow man to get ahead. Because we're all into the same fucking place, you assholes. And even if you get the money and the girls, your life is horrible. The Pink Floyd said that after Dark Side of the Moon hit. They said, killed the band. And they didn't care anymore. They died. Success kills human beings because you no longer have a drive to get up in the morning, right? Have you ever been that when you've not had a job, nothing to do, and you lay in bed forever? Humans are lazy. You need something to motivate you. Success destroys motivation. Not always. Like you saw the Beatles, the more successful they got, the more they felt they had. Well, one, the more they felt, wow, we have the liberty to do some crazy shit. Let's do some crazy fun shit because now we have the money and the fucking power to do it. So sometimes success isn't 100% bad. It's like 93% bad. It's bad in every case, but it's not completely bad in every case. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's bad in every situation, but it's not 100% bad in every situation, okay? Do I have to explain that further? Humans are pretty dumb, so we'll see. Example, when I tell people I was jailed 43 times, jailed 43 times, and arrested 33 times, they always get confused. They say, which is it? It's like, I was jailed 43 times on 33 false arrests. Do I have to make that more clear, idiot? Sometimes you get arrested. I mean, you go to jail more than once on a single case. You might get out on bail, then be put back in jail. All kinds of variations. With me, they went to town. I'm probably the most extra legally jailed person in U.S. history. But anyhow, so check this out. Now, we're finishing up with the Pink Floyd thing. I said this for the last 10, 20 years. I forget when I started saying, wait a minute, Sid Barrett, he was not an acid casualty. And then you see, some people are like, well, wait, after he was thrown out, he made a couple solo albums. Like, listen to them. They broke his heart forever. There was no putting his heart back together again. And he didn't like the music business. So why would he go solo and make solo albums? What, climb the ladder? He just wanted to have fun and be an artist like your Kurt Cobains. They just want to have fun. And if they can make a living having fun, they will. The problem is sometimes your having fun pisses off those in charge who want you to be more respectable, a better role model for kids, whatever. In the last year, it's 2016, in the last year now, because a lot of their peers are dying of old age, you're going to probably see a few more secrets come out as more rock stars die of old age. Their mortality is near. So Nick Mason, the drummer of Pink Floyd, in the last year, I've seen a couple interviews where he has reassessed Sid leaving the band. And he has repeatedly said, I'm not sure it was really the acid. I think it was more that Sid did not want to be part of the machine. Meaning, that detective guy, that CXB detective guy, is totally right. Everybody on Earth was a moron and believed the official story, which was a lie. We fucked over our friend Sid. He's the reason we're rich and famous. He's the reason we have nice wives and houses. And we betrayed him. And what's amazing is I started to realize that before all my friends did it to me, the Trachtenbergs and everyone else did. I helped my friends get careers, whether it's Delfino or Supercute, all kinds of other people. I helped lots of people get careers. And then they used those careers to stab me in the back so they could climb the ladder more and more and more. And they all failed. But Nick Mason now says I was right and everybody else is wrong. I'll tell you some new things. Brian Epstein, suicide. Jimi Hendrix, suicide. Look it up. Do your homework. Look deeper. Dig up more facts. And you're going to go, holy fuck. Epstein was a suicide. Hendrix was a suicide. Start to think, people. Okay? Because we're all stuck in this fucking sinking life raft together. Okay, fucktards? This has been the voice of logic, the policeman of the human race, Captain Cranium, signing off with a double fuck you. And adios, amigos.